Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Pistons Talk Podcast post-game show. Hope you guys are starting off your weekend a little bit better. Sucks to see that Michigan lost to Ohio State, but hey, at least the Pistons got back into the win column. If you're brand new here, what we're going to do is go over these quarter notes, look at the box score, the team stats, and then we'll open up the show to comments and questions. If you have any of those, definitely leave them in the chat below. Or maybe it's just a topic you want to talk about. Try to keep these podcasts under around 30 minutes or so. We have another one tomorrow that'll be a little bit more long form, probably be like over an hour. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, no Jalen Duren in this one. It was reported by the medical staff that Jalen Duren suffered a lower leg contusion. So basically a bruise on his lower leg. They don't know when it occurred, but Jalen Duren didn't play in this one. So you did see a lot of Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart to get the start. And I thought he did a fantastic job of just trying to contain Bam Adebayo in this one. So Stu started Duren out. Tobias picked up 2 early fouls in this one. So did Stu. So it was a thing where JB just left him in. Tobias is like, "Hey, I'll chill out. I'll stop reaching in," and neither of them really picked up the third foul until the second half. Jenkins got all of Levert's minutes tonight. He was another player that was questionable with knee soreness, so Jenkins did get to see an extended role there, which I honestly think like we're gonna start having a dialogue, and I've already kind of had it, privately behind closed doors with some friends that I do podcasts with. Not on this YouTube channel, but other podcasts I do. I honestly think like you have to start having a conversation about Dennis Jenkins getting more of Karis LeVert's minutes. It seems like when Karis is out there, it's just dribble, 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 no ball movement. Dennis comes in, and the Pistons go on a 13-0 run to end this first quarter and get out to a big lead. Now, he wasn't out there scoring, but it was just him being out there, moving the ball. The ball wasn't sticking. And his defensive just instincts out there, I think is something that I've really fallen in love with him. So Pistons have a 36-23 lead to end the first quarter. Something that, we were harping on about this team getting out to first quarter leads, and they've done that more recently. They're coming out the gate, starting off games strong. What happened is Miami goes on a 12-0 run, so that 13-point lead you had dwindled very quickly. But the Pistons responded. They punched back. They go on a 9-0 run, so they go back up 10, and they eventually went into halftime with a 12-point lead. Could have been a 15-point lead. Ron kind of had like a boneheaded foul, really late in the second quarter. It was like 4 seconds left. It's something like if he could have it back, I'm sure he would. But Pistons have a 71-59 lead. Cade Cunningham had 19 points going into halftime. So, Miami does get close in this second quarter, but the Pistons kind of fend them off. And going into the third quarter, I thought it was one of their better quarters. They came out really aggressive. They didn't allow Miami to try to, get back into this game. They didn't really do that till the fourth quarter, which I'm sure a lot of us have a lot of opinions on that fourth quarter. So they were up 19. Miami kind of goes into like the 7-0 run, so it goes to a 12-point lead. And then the Pistons just really surged late with Ron Holland having a steal, Dennis Jenkins getting to the free throw line, Duncan Robinson hitting his shots, and they have a 108-91 lead going into the fourth quarter. Now, the fourth quarter, this team was up 22 with 8 minutes to go. And I'm thinking, okay, you got a 20-point lead, execute your plays, milk the clock a little bit, but that's not really what happened. What happened was the Pistons tried to play the same pace as Miami does. Now, Miami is the best team in the NBA in terms of just pace, transition, They have a top offense in the NBA. They're kind of middle of the pack defensively, but they're one of the better teams in the NBA in scoring the basketball. And you saw it tonight; it was on full display. They went on a 16-4 run in 3.5 minutes. 16-4 run in 3.5 minutes. They got back into this game very quickly, and it went down to the wire. First, it was like, oh, it's a 10-point lead. Now it's an 8-point lead. Now it's 5. Now it's 3. Now you kind of get into like play great defense, don't foul, don't turn over. It's chaotic. You guys know I call the Pistons the cardiac kids because they give me chest pains down to the wire. It reminded me a lot of last year's Pistons where we turn the ball over a crazy amount of times. Teams just have 40-point quarters like the Miami Heat did in the fourth, and you still find a way to win. But once you kind of get into it, if you don't turn the ball over as much as you do, you execute your plays, you don't take your foot off the gas, you don't have to have these chaotic finishes. Now, you could say, hey, they're coming off the second night of a back-to-back. They didn't get into Miami, Florida until 3 in the morning. I mean, okay. But, I don't think the game had to be that damn crazy down to the wire. I'm happy they did find a way to get back into the win column. You end the week 2-2 with 4 games played this week. You're 16-4, your first 20 games of the season. That is a very great start for the first 20 games of the season. Obviously, there's just some stuff we do need to clean up. I think, the turnovers over the last 2 games, I think you have to credit to Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, and Davion Mitchell. Those are all great perimeter defenders. And Cade does have, issues at times with guys that are very handsy, that have high steal numbers, like all 3 of those players I just mentioned. It's not an excuse. I've just noticed it when he goes up against better perimeter defenders in the NBA. He's got to do a better job of taking care of the basketball. Last 2 games, I think it's 16 turnovers for him. I'm sure he'll have more opportunities next week when you play the Hawks, the Blazers, and the Bucks twice to take better care of the basketball. The turnovers thing, I think, is something that I've noticed. Even during the winning streak, it was starting to creep up a little bit. The second thing I think they do need to kind of clean up a little bit is keeping their foot on the gas. Just because you have a 20-point lead doesn't mean a team can't come back. Miami is a perfect example of that. I felt at times they were just rushing shots in the shot clock. The passes were a little bit sloppy on certain possessions. But those are things that are very easy to clean up, watching film, executing. But just wanted to rant for a little bit. Want to get into the box scores. Something that I know a lot of you guys like going over, like talking about, and I like to read these for the audio listeners because there are some people that don't come on these post-game podcasts and just listen to the podcast on Spotify or Apple, and that's completely okay. If you just want to be an audio listener, we love that. If you want to come in, support the YouTube channel, like these podcasts, subscribe to the podcast. Would love that too. But let's get into the box score. So Tobias Harris in this one, 31 minutes played, had a team high tonight, or a season high, season high, 26 points, 10 out of 12 from the field, 4 out of 6 from 3, 2 out of 4 from the free throw line, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 turnovers in this one. But man, Tobias had it going tonight. And we kind of talked about last podcast who's going to be that number 2 option. Tobias stepped up with no Jalen Duren in this one because Jalen Duren's kind of been that second option, averaging 19 points a game this season. But Tobias just had a hell of a game, shot it really well from the field, and we needed all 26 of his points. Really good game. Duncan Robinson, his first game back playing against his former team in the Miami Heat, 32 minutes tonight, 18 points. 7 out of 14 from the field, 3 out of 9 from 3. Perfect from the free throw line. Went there one time, 1 for 1. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover, 1 steal, 1 block, and he had a plus 17. Really good game for Duncan Robinson. Bounce back game for him. He's had a couple of games where he hasn't shot the ball particularly well. He shot 50% from the field, shot 3 out of 9 from 3. I think he's still going to get those 10 to 12 3-point attempts per game just because To me, I think he's kind of playing into that THJ slash Malik Beasley role in terms of just being that high volume 3-point shooter. So just get used to him shooting that amount of 3-pointers for the remainder of the season. But when he does make shots, um, it's great. It's great. I thought, these past 2 games, defensively, he's really been putting effort out there. Now, obviously, we're not saying he's a lockdown defender by any means, but at least he's trying out there. He's trying to fight over the top of screen, switching, communicating. So I noticed the effort. We appreciate it over here on the podcast. Isaiah Stewart got the start tonight, 29 minutes, had 9 points, 4 to 7 from the field. Had 1 3-point attempt, missed it. 1 of the 3 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. He was a -7 in this one, had 5 personal fouls. The box score doesn't really do justice for him tonight. Being able to, I feel like, containing Bam, because Bam in previous matchups against the Pistons, I feel like he's always had the Pistons number. I thought Stu just going at him, defending him, doing his best was great. It's not going to show up on the box score. There was one foul that I'm still laughing about. I believe it was in the fourth quarter. Maybe it was the third quarter. I don't remember. But Stu literally just, kind of like put his body into him. Like he just like went straight up like this. And Bam ran into his chest and he fell over. It just kind of shows you how damn strong Stu is. Like Stu barely moved and Bam kind of got like the wrong end. It kind of looked like a car accident and Stu's just like an 18 wheeler, like a semi truck, and Bam was like a little car out there. He bounced off him and he fell to the ground. Obviously, Stu got called for the foul, and he literally told the officials, like, "Hey, he ran into me. Like, I didn't do anything to him. He just fell over." But love Stu, love the effort. Stepping up big time with Jalen Durham being out with an injury. Cade Cunningham in this one, 38 minutes played, 29 points, 14 out of 25 from the field, 1 out of 5 from 3. Only got to the free throw line 1 time, which is kind of surprising for the amount of times that he was, just driving and getting to the ball to the basket and living in the paint tonight. 4 rebounds, 8 assists, 8 turnovers, 2 steals, 1 block, 5 personal fouls. He's a +2 in this one. Again, we kind of talked about the turnovers. It's something that I think he does not want to have 8 turnovers in back-to-back games. You could ask him yourself. That's something that I'm sure he wants to clean up. He doesn't want to, be turning the ball over that much because it does hurt the team. But, you still get the win. You get your 29 points from Cade, 8 assists, 4 rebounds. You'll take it. Sar Thompson, this one, 30 minutes, almost at the 30 points. These new ESPN box scores, they mess me up every time I read them. So he had 10 points in this one, 5 out of 9 from the field. Didn't attempt a 3-pointer. Didn't get to the free throw line. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. Had 5 personal fouls in this one. He was a -17 in the box score. There were a couple fouls from him that I've noticed it's starting to become a habit. And it's when a guy kind of beats him off the dribble initially, he decides to put his shoulder into the opposing player. And it's just like fouls like that where I don't want it to become a habit because he's the Pistons' best perimeter defender. I think we can all agree there. I think he needs to, like, if a guy does beat you off the dribble, I'd rather you not take the foul and maybe you have some help side at the rim so you don't have to pick up fouls because he's very important in these games. You saw it last game against the or was it the Magic? Excuse me, against the Magic where he picked up 2 fouls on Franz Wagner, and he had to sit a majority of the fourth quarter. Because of the foul trouble he did have. It wasn't really an issue tonight, but I could see it being a thing where maybe he's just a little bit tired and he just puts his shoulder into the opposing offensive player and he gets a foul there. But that's something that I've noticed with the Sar. It looked like he did roll his ankle in this game again. I feel like this guy rolls his ankle once a week. Wear some braces. I don't know. Wear some high tops, something. Ankles on this team, I swear, man. If you guys remember a couple of weeks ago how many ankle sprains this team did suffer, but Sar does finish with 10 points in this one. Paul Reed, 19 minutes, stepped up big time. He had 13 points, 5 out of 9 from the field, 1 out of 2 from 3. Perfect at the free throw line, making both of his free throws. 10 rebounds, had a double-double, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, plus 10 in this one. Paul Reed was so crucial. And it just gets to the point where, like, I just appreciate him. I appreciate having a third string center that is ready when you call his name. He's ready when you call his number. Having a double double in 19 minutes, it's just amazing. I'm just kind of a loss for words when I just watch him play, and it can't be easy, not getting playing time and you get an injury or someone gets in the foul trouble and you just go out there and you're productive. Um, we're very lucky to have Paul Reed on this team. Ryan Holland, I felt like this was probably his best game so far this season. In 23 minutes, 10 points, 4 out of 6 from the field, perfect from the free throw line, 3 assists, 1 turnover, 3 crucial steals in this one. He was a +8. The reason why I feel that this was Ron Holland's best game of the season is the scoring hasn't really been there for him this year. It was last season a little bit, and it would just come in a variety of ways. And I think he's starting to figure out how to be more effective. He's had games recently where he is scoring the basketball a little bit more, and that's crucial for his development. I think a lot of us have kind of wondered like what's going on with him. It is a sophomore slump. He kind of hit like that, sophomore slump wall, but it looks like he is watching film, seeing where he can, pick his spots, and be impactful. I still felt like he's been impactful as a defender when he wasn't scoring, but when you're getting 10 points from Ryan Holland off the bench in 20 minutes, that's just a win in itself, in my opinion. Javonte Green in this one only played 8 minutes. He had 5 points. He was perfect from the field. Always like when you see Javonte Green out there just impacting the game. Jaden Ivey still on a minute restriction, 14 minutes tonight, 9 points, 2 out of 5 from the field, 1 out of 2 from 3, perfect from the free throw line, 4 to 4. 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. He was a +16 in this one, led all bench scores and plus minus. Dennis Jenkins obviously saw way more minutes with Karis LeVert not playing with knee soreness. He had 15 minutes in this one. Huge 9 points by him, especially in the fourth quarter when it was really close. Cade was getting doubled, passed it. Dennis went to the basket and scored, kept it to a 2-possession game at that point. He was 2 out of 4 from the field, 5 out of 6 from the free throw line, 1 rebound, 4 assists, only 1 turnover, 2 steals. He had this one play, and we'll kind of get to the team stats after this. I don't know if you guys saw it, but like he had this play, and it's honestly kind of funny. Like Tyler Hero went to go steal the ball, and he stiff armed him, and he fell into like the first row of the bleachers. And I was just like, man, that guy is so strong. But there's like one play where I was just kind of like laughing at it. There's another play where Cade like pushed Norm Powell in the back. Like, I don't even know why he did it. I was like, Cade, what are you doing, man? But he just kind of pushed him. I don't know if Norm flopped or whatever, but when they played the replay, it looks like Cade like just aggressively pushed him. But if you look at this game, the Pistons shot really well from the field. They shot 59% from the field. Miami, respectively, shot 50%. Pistons shot 42% from 3. Miami shot 48. The free throw numbers, I know some people had mentioned it. Like, Miami got to the free throw line so much more than the Pistons. You look at the fouls, like Miami had 20. The Pistons had 27 fouls. Pistons just have to do a better job of playing defense without fouling. And Stu said that during the halftime interview with FanDuel, saying like we have to do a better job of playing our defense without fouling. And it's been back-to-back games where they're just fouling a lot. They're not really playing defense. Now, are some of these fouls like ticky-tack fouls that you probably wouldn't see on a night-to-night basis? Sure, but they do need to do a better job of just playing set defense and not fouling the opposing team. But rebounds, they did win the rebound department in this one, 43 to 38. They had 29 assists to 27 assists for the Heat, 11 steals to the Heat's 12. Turnovers tonight. Both teams turned it over quite a bit, but back-to-back games where the Pistons had 20-plus turnovers. They had 21 in this one, 24 the night before. Fast break points, the Pistons had 19. The Heat had 26, which is kind of low for them considering they're the fastest-paced team in the NBA. Pistons has beat them up in the paint. They scored 76 points in the paint versus Miami's 54. But, overall, very entertaining Game went down to the wire, chest pains, all of that good stuff. But I do want to open up the show to comments and questions. We're just going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And the rest of the podcast will just be about answering your guys' thoughts with tonight's game. We will be right back, you guys. Okay, you guys, we are back. Thank you for waiting after we kind of went through these comments. If you're watching live on YouTube, we are getting into the section of Q&A, open forum. Any comments and questions of tonight's game, and we're going to get straight into it. Probably my favorite part of the podcast. Got one from Michigan made saying, what the actual F? You think by now we'd know not to let up, and Cade's a dog, but he gets so lazy with the ball at times. It's annoying. Yeah, I mean, I can get the frustration from the fan's point of view when you're up 20 and there's like 8 minutes to go, right? 8:22. They were up 22. You're thinking in the back of your mind, okay, let's keep running our plays, let's keep running our offense, and let's try to, sustain this lead. Don't give a high paced, great offensive team like Miami any sort of chance. They'll give them any wiggle room. But what happens is it starts with Norm Powell. He gets a 4-point play, then he goes to the free throw line. In the very next possession, you leave Tyler Hero wide open for a three. And then that 22-point lead dwindles down to 16. And then the Miami just keeps putting good offensive possessions together. And we got a little sloppy on defense. And then like that huge 20-point lead you had, gets dwindled down and it's down to the wire. So I can get the frustration standpoint. And JB has talked about it before that like they can't allow teams to kind of feel themselves and get back into the game. And like it reminded me a lot of the Pacers game. If you guys remember, like the Pacers got back into the game with the Pistons and it went down to the wire. And it's just because we took our foot off the gas. We got a little bit too comfortable. And that's something that they have to learn. Just like when they weren't coming out of the games, starting them off strong, and they were losing first quarters. Now they have to find a way. If you have a 10 to 20-point lead, keep your foot in the gas, keep executing your plays in the half court or in transition or whatever the plays are, whatever defensive possessions you put together, and you're making stops and making shots. Like you have to find ways to play the full 48. And coaches say it all the time. This is a 48-minute basketball game. If you're not playing for a full 48, you can have opportunities like tonight. Like Miami could have won this game easily. They had a 40-point quarter that if the ball bounced their way a couple more times, they would have got to the free throw line. Like it could have been going into overtime and they could have won the basketball game. So I can understand the frustration from the fan standpoint. As it relates to Cade, we all love Cade Cunningham as Pistons fans. I just think at times when he does get doubled, when he does get blitzed or trapped, I think he's a step slow to react to, pass out of the double. I thought the pass to Danis really late in the fourth was perfect. And I think that's something that he'll continue to work on. Obviously, having 16 turnovers the past 2 games, you don't want that to be a common theme. You don't want Cade to average 8 turnovers a game. You just don't. I think teams know that if they do blitz him, he's not the best at passing the ball out of double or triple teams. Not too many guards are, but it's just figuring out and being a step ahead of these teams that want to double you. But I agree. Michigan made it. I wouldn't really call it lazy so much. I think it's just not being fully aware when a double is happening or being blitzed. I think it's just something that he needs to continue to work on. We know he's not even in his prime yet. He's still very young, 24 years old. He'll continue to get better, but it's just something that is frustrating as fans. We know that he could easily be like maybe a 2.5, 3 turnover a game guard with the usage that he does have. Like you do expect turnovers, but you don't expect like 8 to 10. You just don't. But get into the next question. This one comes from SW Lions 26. This past week has been an absolute disaster for Michigan sports. Maybe this will change the momentum. Man, I mean, let's start with the Lions. I know it's a Pistons podcast. You lose on Thanksgiving, and then you wake up today. You think you're getting Frank Ragnall back. He failed his physical. He's out for the remainder of the year with a grade 3 hamstring. So you thought you were getting your all-pro center back. He's not coming back. Red Wings are, they've cooled off. They're losing more. Honestly, like the Pistons were on a 2-game skid. They bounced back with a win tonight. They end the week 500. But yeah, man, it's just been tough. It's been tough this week. But I mean, if you just look at the month of November, the Pistons only lost twice all November. They took care of, I thought, of a pretty easy schedule. December's a little bit more difficult. You're going to play some more teams that have winning records. You go on a West Coast trip in the middle of December. December will be a very challenging month for the Pistons, but I feel like if you at least have a 500, maybe possibly better month, you'll be okay. They have a pretty difficult December, if you do ask me. But yeah, man, just recently, if you're just reflecting on this past week, especially on the Lions standpoint, like I feel so bad for them. Like fans were really excited that they were getting Frank back and then failed his physical. It's just a gut punch. And then losing the Green Bay on Thanksgiving. You never want to lose to Green Bay because, F those guys, right? But man, I had to turn that game off. I was just like, man, Jordan Love is just carving her defense up right now. But let's get back to more Pistons talk, if you will. A comment from Ari. Shout out to Ari. Hope you're doing well, man. JB should give Cade more minutes with Danis Jenkins. They have good chemistry. And DJ's not afraid to take it to the hoop. We saw that a little bit with the injuries to Karras and Jaden Ivey at the time wasn't back, but I wouldn't be opposed to, Danis Jenkins, Cade Cunningham minutes. I think it works because they're both comfortable with the ball in their hands. They both can play make. And Danis, when he's playing next to Cade, kind of goes into the scoring mode. He's like, okay, Cade's got the ball. I'm just going to score. I'm going to shoot. I'm going to take the ball to the hole. And I hope that, games like tonight, like he needs to continue to get minutes. Like you can't just give him 8 minutes. I get it's easier said than done because you have a rotation. You have guys that maybe they're higher in the pecking order if you're JB Bickerstaff, but every time this kid comes out and plays, he's just impactful. And I really liked what he did tonight with playing Dennis at point guard and playing Ivy off ball. I think that's what you have to do to maximize not only Jaden Ivy, but also maximizing Dennis as the backup point guard. I think he's earned backup point guard minutes. Maybe you get Cade's minutes down. You get him down to like 34. He played 38 tonight. Maybe he's a little bit tired, a little bit winded. Like playing him that many minutes, I don't think is going to be good for him, especially going into the playoffs. You don't want your lead point guard playing close to 40 minutes a night. You just don't. Because by the time it does get to, the second half of the season, he's going to be gassed. He's going to be winded. I think JB does have to manage his minutes a little bit more responsibly, especially as the season does go on, because playing, 37, 38, 39 minutes, that's just too much, in my opinion, for Cade Cunningham. But hey, man, that's just me. It's just me. That's the way I see it. You don't want to be riding your starting point guard that much every damn night. G Stu has a comment about Karis LeVert. So it says they need to give LeVert a few weeks off to recover from all his nagging injuries. It's the same knee injury. Like it's not so much different injuries. It's the same knee injury. He's had knee issues since training camp. I don't know if it flares up at times. Don't know if he's like Jaden Ivey and he needs some arthroscopic surgery or what, but I have every injury report since the season started, and it's always his knee. I think there's been one ankle injury when he rolled it, but it's for a majority, it's his knee. I just think the ball kind of moves better when he's not out there. And obviously, like they signed him to a 2-year deal. They signed him to a mid-level exception. That contract is very easy to move. It is. It's not something that where you're tied down to it. It's a mid-level exception. It's $14 million. You could attach that in future trades, before the February deadline. But I think if you're watching these games when he's not out there, and you have Dennis out there kind of playing his point guard minutes, it looks better in my opinion. I think Dennis has at least entered the chat in terms of being that backup guard, in my personal opinion. But I don't know about you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about Karis LeVert. I feel like some people really like him. Other people can't stand him. It's kind of the minority when you do scroll on, Pistons Twitter or just, talking with you guys on YouTube. Most of Pistons Twitter can't stand his ass. It's kind of funny just to read the timeline sometimes. Like, man, they hate his ass. Get back to the Q&A. So Marquez does have a comment saying, with higher expectations, euphoria from the winning streak, and the disappointment from the NBA Cup, the Pistons are feeling pressure. However, they will only grow stronger as the season progresses. That's a really great analysis by you, Marquise. Always appreciate your comments on these post-game shows. And I agree with you. Like, I think expectations for fans before the season started, I was saying this summer, like I felt like this was a 50-win basketball club. And you guys can go back and watch previous podcasts that we had all summer. Like, I really felt like in my heart of hearts, like this was going to be a 50-win team. I still feel that way. I still feel this can be a 50-win basketball team. They're 16-4 in their first 20 games. I don't expect them to have a win rate like they've had in their first 20. I do expect, more losses as the season does go on. It's a long NBA season, but yeah, there are higher expectations with a lot of fans. I thought especially during this win streak, I think fans just kept expecting them to win and win and win. And when they had the 2 losses this week, I think fans were very frustrated with not so much that they lost, but how they lost, right? You lose in Boston because you weren't really able to guard the 3-point line. You let Derek White just go nuclear in the fourth quarter. You had a chance to tie the game to go into overtime with game-tying free throws, and you don't have an opportunity to do that. Yesterday, it was a rebounding issue, and you didn't box out the last 30 seconds of the game. You gave yourself an opportunity to at least tie the game. Cade going to the free throw line and missing it on purpose and, pitching it out to Duncan Robinson, you gave yourself at least a chance to tie the game. But I feel like fans during the winning streak, the expectations kind of, went up, and that's okay. Yeah, like, I'm never gonna tell a fan how to fan. Like, if you have high expectations for this team, that is your right. Obviously, I try to be a little bit more level-headed and realistic. Like, I've seen people saying, like, you know, Pistons are gonna win 65 games this year. Like, I don't see them being on an OKC Thunder type of level, but I do see them being much improved. I see them winning more games than they did last year. I see them winning more than 44 games. I see them making the playoffs. I see them winning a first round series because I think that is very realistic for this ball club, especially after trading deadline. We don't really know what's going to happen, who's going to become available, what Trajan Langdon wants to do with this core, like how Jalen Duren and Jaden Ivey develop. If Star Thompson starts being more aggressive, if K takes even more of a leap than he has this year, like if his 3-point shot starts to fall a little bit more consistently, like there's so many variables that go into this season. Like I think fans are, they're okay to have opinions and expectations. I just kind of try to be a little bit level headed. I do find myself sometimes getting a little bit like, overconfident during the win streak. I did a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, but I love this team. That's all I can say, man. Whether they go 0 and 82 or 82 and 0, I will watch this team. We will do post game podcasts because we're not really here just when they're good. We were doing podcasts during the Monty Williams 14 win season. You guys remember those? Like those were therapy sessions, but it's good to have a good basketball team coming up in here, having podcasts, talking with you guys. I really do enjoy it. Want to get to a comment about Danis. Danis needs more minutes so Cade can get a breather. I know we did kind of touch about that. I agree. I'm willing to give him a good like 15 to 20 minutes a night if you can. I know that's easier said than done, but I mean, I feel like if you kind of cut into Karras's minutes, Danis could definitely get those 15 minutes a night just because Karras has been getting, anywhere from 22 to 25 minutes a night. And like even the game against Orlando, like it's just ISO ball. It's just like getting to his spots. It's not a lot of facilitation whatsoever. I think with Danis, it's more, of a natural point guard. Not to say Karras can't play point guard. He can. I just think it's the ball and the offense flows better when he's out there. But that's just the way I see it. I don't know how you guys see it with Danis when he is out there. Do want to get to a couple more um, comments and questions with you guys. So I see that you guys left 24 more since we did take our last commercial break. I do see people talking about some Sacramento Kings, and Keon Ellis. I love Keon Ellis. Zach LaVine, I think I'm good. Not because I don't think he is talented. He is. The contract's a little much. Defensively, I think it kind of is a red flag to me that he doesn't really play defense. And this is a team that kind of hangs their hat on defense. I could see players on this team getting frustrated with him not locking in defensively. And that's kind of been like his MO since he's entered the league, like his Minnesota days, his Chicago days. He just doesn't play defense. He can score you 30, but he might give up 35, right? I like Levine. I just don't really like what comes with his defensive end of his game. Like I honestly, I really don't like it. I know a lot of people wanted him last deadline. I'm just not really into taking on a guy that is on a bigger deal and doesn't play the end of the floor. I'm going to get into a couple more comments and questions with you guys. Looks like you are agreeing with me in terms of Danis. Yeah, I just think he's earned it. Like even like when Cade was out, um, he's just stepped up. He stepped up tonight. Even though he only scored 9 points, all 9 of those points I think were really crucial. Um, uh, and I think where the Pistons are going to be at when his two-way does expire, because it is going to expire in a couple of weeks. Just lock him up for the next couple of years, because I feel like that's like a rotation guard of the future with him. Like, I think he's shown enough. You had him in the G League. You saw what he could do in the G League as a lead guard. You're seeing what he can do when you give him an opportunity and give him minutes. I think he's perfect for this team. Whether you want him to play next to Cade and hit a last minute buzzer beater, he's done that a couple of times, or whether you want him run the second unit, I think he's done that as well. But that's just kind of my opinion on it. I will do one more comment, and then we'll wrap up this podcast, because we're doing another one tomorrow with Zarek, and that'll be probably a longer one. They usually are with him. They're usually around like an hour to two. Just kind of depends like what rabbit holes we do go down. We do have like set topics, but we always go down rabbit holes, I swear. What do you think about Josh Hart saying Little Caesars Arena was the loudest NBA arena he's ever played in the playoffs? I mean, I haven't been to a Pistons game yet this season, and that's just because I do these post-game podcasts, and then we post a lot of content, obviously, after the game. I'd love to go to a Pistons game. I'll try to go to a couple this year. Just haven't really had the opportunity to go yet, but that atmosphere, when you have a good product on the floor, is loud. The acoustics in that building are loud. Um, it doesn't surprise me that he said that that's the loudest arena he's played in so far. You give Detroit fans something to get behind, they will show up, they will be loud, they will be rowdy. And it's not just a Pistons thing. Like you've seen it with Lions games. You've seen it with Red Wings games. Like Detroit fans, when you have a good product on the floor, they will show out. They will be your biggest supporters, but we've seen them when they're not so good. Um, they're not as loud. There's not as much to cheer for, but it doesn't really surprise me that Josh Hart said that. I mean, those playoffs, I mean, they were crazy. You lost hearing for like a day and a half because it was just so loud. People screaming for 2.5 full hours. Like it was just such a great experience to watch that, go to it. Doesn't surprise me he said that whatsoever. But I'm gonna wrap up this show, you guys. Do appreciate all you guys coming in on a Saturday night. If you could, on the way out, if you're not subscribed already, definitely subscribe. We're trying to get our subscribers up. Trying to get to 50,000 before the end of the year. We just hit 30,000, I believe, this month. And we're doing a podcast tomorrow with Zarek, who I'm sure you guys know. He's been on the podcast multiple times. He has a credential NBA media member, does a lot of photography for the Pistons, and also does ask questions, during these press conferences. So he's pretty in the know with this team. So really excited to talk to him tomorrow. But appreciate all you guys watching us, throughout this week. Again, Pistons win this one 138-135. Finish off the week with 2 wins and 2 losses. They sit at first place in the Eastern Conference at 16-4, still in first after the month of November. But appreciate all you guys watching. Hope you have a great night. Take care. And as always, go Pistons. Peace.